I keep my ghost from haunting you. I just let go and walk away.
And all the insecurities that artists really deal with.
Man,
you know,
you say that, and that rings so true to me. Like this, there are days that I constantly. There's a couple days a week probably that I wake up and I'm just like, why do I continue to do this? Like, do people? I doubt myself all the time. But it really has been over the years, the emails, the messages I get from fans that say, this album got me through this. This song got me through this. Like, and that may not make me rich in my pockets, but it makes me rich in my heart, and that feels like I'm doing it for the right reasons. Right.
Hello, you are now entering the Millennial Musician with host Ezra Vancil by Compose.com.
A re-examination of our common sense. We've got all sorts of ideas built into us, which seem unquestioned, obvious. Our common sense has been rigged.
welcome to the Millennial Musician. This is a show by Compose.com, and I'm the host, Ezra Vancil. I'm very excited to be here today for the first show. Hey, this is Ezra. I'm going to just drop a little note in here. This was a pilot episode for a podcast that I did for a company called Compose.com, which is a musician collaboration website. Still a great website, but they gave this back to me. This was one of my favorite ones. We never released this podcast. One of my favorite interviews I've done on a podcast, and one of my favorite podcasts altogether. So I thought I would put this out there. It's a great interview with Paco Estrada in its entirety. Enjoy.
This week in the Millennium.
I hope you enjoy listening to this conversation. It was really just a magical night for me and for Paco, and I learned a lot of things myself and was inspired. And that's what I really want, is to come away with inspiration, motivation to move on, to continue in this music life. It's not easy. I know that. I know that for sure. I've been doing it all my life. And to continue in it is not easy. And you don't need to be going to be the rock star. Like Paco said, nobody's going to drop out of the sky. You know, you might as well play the lotto. So you need to find a place in music that you can be, to be content. Like Paco, I've had some big life goals that have been realized in my life, in my music life. And I've had some huge letdowns. And if I've learned one thing, and the one thing that keeps me doing it every day, is that I don't need to go anywhere. I'm already there. It's like a wise man said about music. It doesn't need to go anywhere. If it needed to go somewhere, then music would be about who can play it the fastest to get to the end. It also can be related to dancing. You don't dance to get anywhere. You just dance. And so we just make music. So when you're moving towards those ambitions and those big goals in your life, then they should be huge goals. Consider it dancing to the music. Because you don't need to go anywhere. And that's why I've really wanted to work with Compose on this, because it is a place for the aspiring musician all the way to the pro to really dance in the music, and to have a place that it doesn't have to get pushed out of their life because they have to schedule time for it. And I want to do something on this show, and that's what this is about, is doing something to dance. And I want you to dance with me this year. And what I want you to do is something I did 1 year ago that changed my life. I threw away Plan B. I don't mind saying how old I am. I'm 40 years old. I've been doing music in a real aggressive capacity for 23 years. Before that, I did music when I was a child. And all since then, and all that time, everything was conspiring to take music away from me, to put it in a corner, tell it to stand up straight, get a haircut, and join the huddled masses as they go somewhere. But I'm not going anywhere. I'm just dancing with the music.
Wait for it, my whole life through. But you're never coming back. We'll never see this through.
So to dance, you got to take the first step. I want this week, I'm going to do it. I want to pull the rug out from under me. I want to pull a plan B out from under me. My wife gets mad at me because she's very literal. I'm kind of more subtle, metaphorical, and I like to play with words because words, especially in this day and age, are so overused, especially buzzwords, that they wear a groove in our ears and in our mind where we don't even hear them anymore or really understand the broader context of those words. They become isolated. And plan B to me, maybe the word that it is replacing in my mind is excuses, but excuses don't tell me the whole picture. A plan B is really, for me, a decision for comfort in this context. And plan Bs are great in business and in many different ways, and even in your music career. But the one place that they're not so good is in your own aspirations, in what you want to be. You know, it makes me very sad to see, I always talk about my bubble. My bubble is very large. It's a large group of musicians that I've grown with over the last 20 years. And to ask, year after year, have you gotten to that album you want to do? When's that show you've been talking about? What about your new band? What about that recording? What about you wanted to write songs? You wanted to learn the guitar? And them to continually say, well, I'm trying to get my desk set up. I need to rearrange everything. Or I need this compressor. I need to learn this part on a guitar. I need to, well, it just goes on. And what really happens is that it just never gets done. Those excuses have become their plan B because really that's all they have. They haven't really done plan A. And those are very comfortable to fall back on and to not walk, to not even dance, but to sit on the sidelines of their life, of their musical life, with a bunch of equipment, with a bunch of online services, with 200,000 likes they bought for a song. So what I want you to do is get a piece of paper. We don't need anything fancy. Split it down the middle, not with a knife, but with a pen. And on one side, I want you to write all those plan Bs, those comfortable excuses you have. And I want you, that's not enough. Go ask somebody that knows you really well what excuses you always make and what things you blame for not doing music the way you want to do it in the time frame that you want to do it. Leave the other side blank, because that is what plan B got you. So then take a match, take it outside, and burn it.
And it's great, not a water vapor, let's activate. Just go your way. We don't want this kind of thing, and that's okay. If you shine, and listen. I can't fix the leak you have in your ceiling, but I can keep placing down buckets for rain. And I can sit floating.
We're sitting here with Paco Estrada. You might know him from the band South FM.
I'm just wasting.
talk about the new millennium musician, and Paco Estrada, to me, is the epitome. When I went and looked at all his media and stuff, and I've looked at it and kept up with it, but just looking at it, it's just a whole new way of doing things that is nothing like we were doing it even 5 years ago. It's communicating with his audience through YouTube, through videos that are connecting directly with his audience. And there is, you don't even have a web page, do you? It goes straight to Facebook.
Yeah, I think web pages can be a little obsolete these days. I think if you're not in someone's Facebook feed, they're probably not going to pay any attention to you.
Because it's more like it's alive. It's moving. And web pages were like brochures.
It's nice to have a website there, but only the real diehard fans. You got to kind of think about how everybody's really busy today. And everybody has only a few seconds to sort of have their attention detoured to something else. And if it takes more than a few seconds to be involved in something, you're easily swept up by the next thing that's coming on, and
it's a noisy world.
It is. And there's a lot of information. It's all coming to you on your little, personal gadget.
Take it back, and we're not going to focus a lot on this because I want to get information, and we don't have a lot of time. And I want to get a lot of information of what you're doing now in this new media situation. Let's start with your first CD that you put out on Brando.
Yeah, Brando. Brando was a startup label started by the Rainmaker Management, and Rainmaker was behind Deep Blue Something, Breakfast at Tiffany's, championed that hit to a major label. I guess sort of helped Rainmaker artists with their artist development. Is basically why the label was designed, so they could help the band take their songs to another level, hook up with people like Alex Gerst, David Castell, and create a product that could compete on the national market. And what it saves the bands that they are pushing to get signed from having to spend a lot of money on a record. All the records that Brando did were already so great that when they'd get picked up on a major label, there wasn't a re-recording of the record. It was already stellar record. So we'd spend a little bit of money on taking it to people like Tim Palmer to be mixed, who Chris Lord-Alge mixed Dear Claudia. The money from the signing bonus, which they used to do that. I don't think they really
So
offer.
this was from Brando, and Brando is an indie label, and the signing. I just want to.
Brando paid for the record, and the whole idea was to create a beautiful, pristine record that they could shop to a major label.
So they're like a gateway. They wanted to get you. They pick out artists that they know that they can take and shop.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and they
kind of take out the questions with the production, making sure it's right.
Right. They listen to when we first started talking to the company. So we went in and we demoed every song we had. We had about 20 something songs, and they listened to everything and said, well, we really like this, we really like that. Why don't you guys keep writing? Let's put together a record. And so they did a lot of stuff that I think helped prepare us to be at a major label level.
And getting to Brando, were you just like blowing up in your own scene, and they were
yes.
like,
oh yes, and this times were different. This was a time when T-Bone still had.
You talk about like 2000. What is this? 2003 or something? Yeah,
but it really in between 2000, especially by 05, 06.
Okay.
We're sort of in an apocalyptical time with music as far as how things have worked and major labels and whatnot. And a lot of it has to do with the growing social medias and the fact that now everybody can have a Pro Tools setup and buy amazing equipment and have a studio in their basement.
That wasn't going on.
That wasn't, no. Yeah. So the tools are now accessible to all of us. We have YouTube at our disposal. We have cameras that will shoot great videos and that aren't that expensive. And so you learn how to sort of do it yourself. I think that the labels that are still handing out spots are doing things like 360 deals, which is just absolutely unheard of. That wasn't around. And a 360,
explain what that is.
A 360 deal is there's not much of an advance. Usually labels gave you a large advance, and the band could all take off work, and they would give you touring money. And well, there's not a lot of money. There's not a lot of people that are willing to take risks anymore. So especially in the major label, they they take what works and then they try to find anything else that sounds like,
So
whatever is the big thing,
Yeah, they're going with their safe bet nowadays.
Because they know
gotta
for
play it
sure.
really
Yeah,
safe.
they do play it really safe. And, with that, a 360 deal is where there's not a large advance up front. And instead of making it back through album sales, they make their money back by dipping into your touring, by dipping into your merch. And touring and merch is how bands survive.
When I was preparing with you, early, the other day I was talking to you about this interview, and you said, "What are sales?" What does that mean nowadays?
Yeah, what does that mean, album sales?
Yeah, because people are still running around spending thousands of dollars doing their CD packages, and then getting really depressed. I just got this guy's been telling me about a CD about to be released, and he did his big release today. I bet he only sold 2 of them to his mom and his grandma.
Probably.
If he's not playing out live, because that's a different situation.
Myself, as I got older, and the rock band is very, very much a young man's game. And as I got older, I stopped looking at, especially after being signed, and then the reason why we got dropped was we were signed to MCA Records, and MCA got bought out by Geffen, and Geffen didn't sign us, so Geffen didn't really care too much for us, and wouldn't we were out of touring money. We wanted to put another single on the radio, and Geffen didn't really care. We were just on hold until eventually we got dropped.
And that's a kind of a common thing, because in these labels you got your people. And these people,
we had it.
They come in and out, and if they leave, you don't have your people. You don't have your believers.
We had a network of people that loved the album and were willing to put a lot of work into championing Dear Claudia. And Dear Claudia was on a lot of radio stations, and it was being moved over to hot AC stations, the Kiss FMs.
Yeah.
And it was doing really well. But you need, you have to fuel that, and you have to go back out, you have to tour, you have to put another single out. This takes time and money, and it takes people that are working for you. And everybody that was working for us on MCA was completely fired in the merger. And that happened a lot. A lot of labels folded. You have all these sort of small umbrellas now under bigger, you have Universal, you have your Sony, you have everything sort of underneath these bigger blankets, At the same time, you have this growing concept. MySpace changed a lot of things.
Right.
And then Facebook started band pages, and that changed a lot of things. And now a lot of people are disgusted by Facebook and don't even do it. Kids these days are not doing Facebook.
They're on Twitter now.
Twitter.
Yeah.
And Twitter will become passing pretty soon too, I'm sure. But it allows us to have the same market straight to people, and you have to be honest with you have to be honest with yourself as an artist, and you have to say, who is my fan base and what fan base do I have? And if I market to that specifically, and my fan base can grow, sure, by my content being out there, but specifically, when I'm thinking about my next album or what I'm going to release, I'm thinking about the close, 500 people that I know for sure, and there's over 3,000 people on my Facebook page, and my Facebook page, when I started as a music page, and that was before they did music pages. So I did when when music pages got really popular, I made a music page that has a very small amount. I haven't even let my fan base, one at a time people have come over, but to me, my regular Facebook page is my music page. They may all claim to be fans, and they may all be my friends, but realistically, it's like, who is really that interested in my music?
Yeah.
And so marketing straight to those people, and marketing to what you have, and creating your own business out of it, and keeping in mind that there is no major label at the end of the tunnel. That this when we were young, there used to be this
drop in,
like
pick
this
you up. You're so awesome. We got to take you.
It's this light at the end of the tunnel that was like, man, and every painstaking moment is all about, well, major label, and then we get there, and then we get dropped, and then it was like,
what now?
And
but it was always about the fan. The thing is, when you're marketing in that way, it's almost to this faceless mass. And one thing I like about your marketing, especially Space Camp, is talking, like your YouTube usage, of talking directly to that person. And like you're saying, a lot of artists that I talk to now are like, will go to these things where they can boost their Facebook, buy likes and buy Twitter
Yeah,
things.
that's just,
and they've got like 300,000 likes.
Well,
but I go to their show and they have 2 people
Right,
there. And
and
I'm like, those aren't real likes. I mean,
Yeah.
when somebody says, I have 1,000 likes, how much are those? Or those 500 you're talking about? Those people that will go.
If a band's doing things like that to boost their likes, they're doing it once again to try to fit into this old mold of thinking of I'm going to get signed.
Yeah.
And so like, well, we'll do whatever we can to make it look like we have this big and a band like that may get signed, and they usually get signed to a 360 deal. And so like already that's sort of just a crooked situation to be in. But you do that and you say, that's fine. I'd rather be with a major label behind me and giving up all portions of my merch and my sales on my live shows and all this stuff. If you choose to do that, but in the end, it's like, well, you did all that. Like those fans aren't really there, so they think a label can see all these, how many Facebook, but if those people aren't really coming out, it's like who's buying the record?
And you can see the interaction. I mean, you can spot it pretty easily if you're in the know. Like it might, to a fan, you might like, wow, they got all these followers. But if you like go look, you see the interaction on these pages. You really see, and they have the clout score now where you can actually kind of see what kind of your popularity by interaction, not so much by how many fans you have, but how they listen to you when you talk.
Yeah, how they you can keep track of all that. That's what I like about Facebook is, every time you put out something, you can see how many people it reached, who you can who shared it.
Yeah.
And those are the fans you want to be talking to, are the fans that are willing to take the time to go, I support this guy. I like what he's putting out. I'm going to spend 5 seconds looking at it in my feed. I've got the information that I need from whatever he's trying to tell me, and I'm willing to share that with others because I want others to see this guy, and fans will do that. Fans will be like, hey, I'm going to play in Houston. I'm posting flyers. They'll repost it. Hey guys, you should come see this show, blah, blah. They support it too, and I think that now, especially with the way that things are, they're sort of this working class musician now that survive off their live shows.
Yeah.
But there's also there's another problem of people, because everybody has a guitar and everybody plays music and everybody believes that they regardless of their level of talent, that they can make it, they can try out for The Voice, they can do this, they can do that. And we're in this sort of society where everybody can be a star. And so it's so oversaturated that when people do go out and they see a lot of bad stuff. And so then when you have something that's really good and you want them to come out, their lack and their appreciation of live music has dissolved unless they know that they're paying $80 to go to some huge place. It's like, then that's good music. But there's a lot of great music that's going on, and people have lost that love of just going to see what's going on in your local scene. A love for music on that level.
And I saw that because I played some coffee shops, which wasn't what I went from a band, like playing the bigger places. And when I came back, I started playing smaller places. But people, I think, when it first started doing it, were like, well, yeah, every coffee shop I go to's got a guy sitting in the corner with a guitar. And it's kind of this thing of educating your fans. First of all, getting them there, and when they get there, getting that experience of, oh, wait a minute, this is different than every place I go that has a band in it. It's an experience. But, that goes further into what you're actually doing, because with your music, and I'm going to play, I'm going to drop in and out, edit in some music so that, the listeners can really get a feel for what you've done over your career, which is just this huge mass. You're still a young guy, and you've jumped through genres and just done this really broad spectrum of music, but there's something, like when I listen to your music, and I have a few of the CDs in my car, there's something that breaks through all the rest. And I think that's why you are, working as a musician, is because it is like this authenticity in your lips. And there's something deeper in what you're saying. Not that you won't sing about the same situations we're all dealing with girls and sleeping with girls,
right.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a deeper element. There's actually kind of a wisdom and a lot more depth in what you're saying. And like the Dear Claudia song.
And you do it so carelessly. as if you had no self-esteem. A victim of apathy, but you don't care what people say about you. And I will let you in before you break yourself. It's true that you like to sleep around in joy and with your backside on the ground, but you should know that it's not your fault. Your father killed himself. Dear Claudia, you leave the pieces of you in each bed you lay in.
You know, that's a pop hit. But when you listen to it, you know, and I listened to it a few times today,
Yeah.
more than I ever have. And the lyrics,
The lyrics,
I found a
it's very
YouTube
dark.
lyric,
Yeah.
YouTube lyrics, and it's really dark.
Yeah.
And it actually goes in some unexpected places. So when you hear that, I think it's almost a subconscious connection of depth.
It's like the quote you said, you know, with
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan's quote, you know.
Okay, so Dylan says music can save people, but it can't in the commercial way it's being used. It's too much. It's pollution.
Yeah, and I think the pollution is everybody's writing a song. Everybody's has songs, and then there's some great pop melodies that are great, but what is the song really about? And I think the only thing that has kept me being able to do what I do for this long is the fact that my number one focus, no matter what, is that the songs that I put out. Like it's my songwriting and writing songs and knowing that you find crafting every melody and every, you know, and the words, you know, to relate to, and not only therapy for myself, but to do it with the intent of connecting to other people.
Right.
And when you do it with those intentions of connecting, then obviously I'm manifesting that, you know, to hear you say that my songs connect on a certain level. But if you don't write good, if you can't write a good song, you won't survive.
Connect in that way.
Oh, there's bands, you know, I think a lot of bands try really hard. A lot of bands get a really great chance. I think that the first record, when we got signed, we got a really great opportunity, and there was one good song that really connected, and the rest was a lot of introverters. The rest of the album was a lot more progressive rock. There were certain themes, but there was a lot of metaphors and riddles, and it was very personal. It was very personal. Yeah.
What is this? The one that sings about grace?
They'll understand grace. Let there be grace.
And I've learned, you know, after seeing what didn't work on the first record and knowing that, hey, you had one pop hit and a bunch of progressive rock that wasn't really radio friendly.
Right.
And it's not that I'm shooting towards radio by any means, but if you want people to listen and you want fans, you have to write something that's relatable and familiar and so, you know, you listen to other people's music. You listen to the greats. You listen to Prince. You listen to some of the greatest songwriters ever, and you learn how to write stuff that people can connect to.
You're saying so many things that bring up so many thoughts, but there's one, because I don't want it to come across like if you don't have this skill, then you don't belong in music, like the elitist kind of thing. Because really, you know, I went and taught at this art school and taught some kids that were just starting off in art. But I wanted to express to them that, you know, if you are in music, find that outlet. Like you talked about the bands that really can't write that connection song on a universal level. But maybe they could connect with their little bubble, their friends. They could sing a song to their 20 friends that is like something about, they all know, like maybe, you know, doing something they do at college or something.
Yeah, and I think
that will connect with this bubble, and you can live and be a rock star in that bubble. You know?
When you get a taste of that, you know, that's the first. I mean, that's what happens in the beginning if you have a talent for. I mean, it's like anything you want to be good at. What are you choosing in your mind to wake up in the morning and saying, this is what I want to be best at? And, you know, in my mind, because I say I'm a singer-songwriter. Mm-hmm. That's what I am. That's what I do every. To me, the songs being a singer-songwriter has to be the shining point. Just like if you decide you're going to be a great guitar player, everybody plays its part, but I think that then you do get your first taste of it, and you do hit that circle of your 20 friends in college, and they're affected by something, and that makes you go, oh, I'm good at this. I've connected. I'm going to continue to hone this situation. I'm going to continue to figure out what I did right and continue to do it again and again and again and again.
Talk about your lyrical and musical process a little bit while we're in this spectrum.
I think the last thing you want to ever do is get into the habit of being closed off to doing things any one way.
Yeah.
And inspiration comes in all ways. And you have to be open to it. Sometimes I sit down and grab a guitar and things happen. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and something's there. Sometimes I'm in the middle of doing this or that and I stop everything because I need to grab a piano or a guitar and figure out what it is that's going on. And it comes from sometimes the lyrics come first. Sometimes the melody comes first. Sometimes the chords come first. I in all kinds of ways, I just try to be open to it. There isn't really one way. I think that integrity is the common ground between all of the music that continues to be, if you're in it to get a major
Boosting
label,
your
if you're in it
likes,
for money, if you're in it for sex, if you're in it for drugs, sex, drugs, rock and roll, I mean, it works to a point, but all those people that were in it, for those things, we're getting those things as a side effect of being really great at what they did.
Yeah.
But I think that having integrity, and I think that's probably what holds all the same other artists that you look up to, and all the people that are continually putting out good music, is there's an integrity. They come as a what they put their whole self into what they're doing. They are living and being that thing.
So they would do it without these things.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Is that this music is so important to them and so much a part of who they are. For them to go that long, though, it's something beyond looking for that. Because really, as a musician, that will wear your soul out. To be constantly disappointed if you think you're going to, get this many fans or get the big record deal, and it keeps failing. And you get people, blasting you online for your latest song is stupid or whatever. It's like a constant stab in the heart that you almost got to give up because it's just too painful. Do you connect with what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I do. I've been fortunate to have people like my voice and like the songs that I write. And I know there are a lot of other people that cannot get to that level. And I would never, ever tell anybody to not shoot for their dreams, but I don't even know how that works. I don't know. I don't know. Do they not? Is it because they don't fully manifest it in their minds when they wake up? Is it because they're not being and living
really
that?
Believe it themselves? Can you have an audience believe something that you don't believe yourself? And a lot of artists, and I say a lot, when I speak of my bubble and my social studies over the last decades of my bubble of people I know and all the insecurities that artists really deal with.
Man, you say that, and that rings so true to me, like this chime behind me.
Yeah, we're outside, by the way.
Yes,
me and Paco were like, where should we do this show?
It's a beautiful Oak Cliff night.
Yeah, and we said right out here in the wilderness.
But there are days that I constantly, there's a couple days a week probably that I wake up and I'm just like, why do I continue to do this? Like, I doubt myself all the time, but it really has been over the years, the emails, the messages I get from fans that say, this album got me through this song got me through this. Like, it lets me know I'm doing something right. And that may not make me rich in my pockets, but it makes me rich in my heart. And that feels like I'm doing it for the right reasons. It feels right. It's what's kept me continually going is my relationship with fans. And when I go out of town, I play all over Texas so I don't saturate Dallas. Mm-hmm. And I'm going out to play Abilene this weekend. I do.
You play a lot, man.
Every weekend
you're like constantly on the go.
I'm somewhere else, if not at home in Dallas. Sometimes I'll take a weekend off, but I stay with fans. I stay in fans' houses. I stay with people that I break bread with that are happy and I'm happy to see. I'm trying to get out of town tomorrow. I got so much to do this week in the middle of a move, and I'm trying to get out of town tomorrow so I can spend a day early with the friend that I always stay with when I go play Abilene. And the relationships that I've made with fans that have become my friends because they believe in me so much has been amazing. And I've been able to, become close to families, to young children, to just the most amazing people. I've had the most amazing relationships.
It makes me think. I got to do a show with Paco Estrada, which is really cool, and it was the coolest, magical night. It was beautiful. What kind of this metaphor of that night, because we did a listener's room, which is, where the seats are arranged in a way that it's quiet and you listen like a concert, but even more than a concert. You're sitting like knee to knee with your audience. And what you're saying to me, like connecting with these fans in a relational way, it makes me think, because, a lot of the places I played, some of them had huge stages where, the mosh pit's head, not that we ever had it. Well, we did have a mosh pit at one point, but we won't go into that night. Where their head is just peeking over the stage.
Right.
And like that night, it's kind of a metaphor of the new music world. The stage has been removed. You're sitting in the audience with these people. You're connecting with them on a human level. And you're not only entertaining, but they're walking away. Because like we said earlier, this world is noisy. We're more busy than we've ever been in our life. More distracted. And so much McDonald's music and media and video, things that are sedate us, but they don't make us feel. They don't, and like those nights, like that night when you played with us, and what the audience expressed to me later is it's just like a wake up, because really you just, people are just so busy walking through life, driving their boxes to their boxes and looking at their boxes and driving in their boxes to their boxes. That when somebody makes them stop and go, oh yeah.
Well, you get that a lot. Like I'm about to go do, West Texas, and I love Abilene, Texas, and I'm not a negative word about it, but you get a lot of college kids. They're going to the popular bar. Everybody's there to drink. A lot of times people come in, they watch you. They could really care less. They don't necessarily clap. It's like you're fighting really hard to get them to feel something. And if I can break,
you got to tell them you're not the grocery store piped in music.
I'm not, and people come up and ask for certain requests. It's like, well, I'm kind of playing my music right now, or I can cover this, I'll cover that. And that, people wanting to hear a familiar song is always great,
Yeah.
And I do that too, but sometimes you have those nights where it's like, did I touch anybody, and it's a nightly walk, man. It's as a musician, it's like, all right, did I get one person came up to me at the show and was like, I was deeply moved, like you really kind of made an impact on me, and I and if that's it, then that's it. And
that's the night.
That has to be what it is. You gain that one fan.
Well, let's jump about a little bit back into that, because when you move around, you tour a lot, you're going to run into, those kind of nights where it's just not happening. But what do you do? Because I noticed at the show, one show I went and saw you at, you had a stereo recorder going during the show. Do you try to walk away with something that's valuable, even if the night's a total wash, like some kind of media, video, or that one fan?
I'll tell you what, I think unfortunately it's become, and it's something I'd like to get away from, but it's come to the point where sometimes I'm just playing because I need the paycheck.
Yeah.
And that's because I do it full time. And so I do take shows where I'm playing covers all night long, and I know I'm going to be the background in a very busy club or a restaurant or whatever, but I know that the money will contribute to something else. But for me, and I'm not even dealing with anything serious or heavy in my life, I'm just continually exploring myself and trying to stretch my boundaries of love and forgiveness on the rest of the world, and try to find a peace of mind that amidst all the turmoil, that's what I'm trying to work on, me being the best person I can possibly be. And that's not easy when you start, looking inwardly and really try to work on you instead of always projecting it outwardly, which a lot of people continue to do.
Especially musicians, because you can get pumped up from a show that can distract you really from yourself, and you can go on and on to this big thing that happened. You got played here, you know, you got this spot, you're on a TV show, and it's really no different than the way that everybody uses distraction from one moment to the next. But I think that
But if you're putting out the stuff with heart and quality and integrity, it's going to stand out.
it's gonna.
And
Yeah,
I wanted to say that earlier about your record, you know, how I found you 10 years ago and had no idea who I was listening to. You know,
It's strange.
David Castell hands me a disc that says Ezra on it, and I've been listening to it for 10 years, loving every song. You put your integrity is all over that record. You
Yeah.
went through something heavy and you talked about it. And when that's another thing, is not being afraid to talk about the things that are so personal that we think no one will relate to. And that's when we relate to people the most.
if there's not a group that dislikes what you're doing, or hates what you're doing, nobody's going to love what you're doing, because it's kind of like this yin yang balance. That if like that album you're speaking of mine, that was kind of a career killer for me, because I had a very positive image.
That album was a career
And
maker for
my
you,
crowd-
man. I think it's a career maker.
Well, the
That
crowd
album is just
I had,
incredible.
and I had a really good crowd for my last album, wouldn't follow it because it was dark. And when this dark thing came out that had cussing on it and heroin and everything you could think of,
It's such a great album.
that might be for a
I
whole
don't. I
nother
don't.
podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I don't necessarily have to walk away with something for the show, because singing out loud live and sharing my music, like, it is an experience for me. I may not be dealing with a lot of stuff in my life, so it's not necessarily a cathartic experience, but these songs are my therapy. And if I can just, I relive these moments that I wrote about, and I get to sit up there and reminisce in my own memories and drink a glass of wine and play for people, like, how can I, even if it's a night where I just made money and no one really cared, like, I did that I got to do that for a living. I didn't spend a 9 to 5 somewhere doing stuff that other people wanted me to do to gain whatever money or attention,
Prestige
or to somebody else's brilliant plan of capitalism. I'm doing what I want to do.
You're a songbird, and songbirds sing, you know?
No, sometimes there's a lot of love songs, and sometimes I'm just, bringing that guy closer to that girl that he's holding next to him and they're sitting there listening to.
And walk away. And when you think that the clouds are clear, I'm gonna call your name. I'm gonna dig a hole, and I'll hide inside. I let the dust and ashes blanket over me. When you take comfort in the silence of my dying, I wanna start to speak, 'cause I need you haunting me. So I don't walk these streets alone for eternity. Yes, I need you haunting, as I need your memory.
Whatever happens, I think I just try to approach it with, I know there's something bigger than me in all of this, and I approach it with that. I approach it with a concept that no one's driving the boat, so to speak. I get that I make decisions and there's consequences for every decision, positive or negative, but I do believe that there's something bigger about the talents that I have. I feel like I've tapped into something that's spiritual. It's a spiritual walk for me. Singing is a spiritual thing. Like, I feel cleansed. I feel connected to life. I feel using my voice and singing and just, man, it's everything to me. It is my life's walk, and I think that's why I'm able to continue to do it, because I put it before everything else in my life.
Yeah, and if you're like me, I can't stop doing it.
I'm
it's my breath.
I'm a lot like you.
I am
that's kind of why I like you, because
at the detriment of the whole world.
I see myself in the future. It's just like,
don't
it's like
say
a
that,
time
Paco.
machine.
Don't do that to yourself.
No, I can learn. I can learn from what I see in the future.
Well, I want to play a song, and it's one of the first songs that I heard from yours. It's actually, when we connected online, I went and listened to some music, and this is the one I heard, and it's from an EP you did recent. I guess it was recently. Was that last year?
Yes, I put it out this past
How
summer.
I spent my summer vacation.
How I spent my summer vacation, yes. I had a group of songs, and a young producer approached me, and he was in the Tyler area. This was 2013, and no, it was 2012 actually, and we recorded in 2012 over the week of Halloween. We did 5 songs in a week, and I loved the way they sounded. We got
amazing. You did that in a week?
We did that in a week.
Goodness
we
gracious.
got carried away. We added there's a lot of musicians will hear it and they'll go, well, everything, I can tell that this isn't real or this is sampled. And there's a lot of horn instruments that are sampled, and you can tell, man, it's not really a full real saxophone. But we got really carried away, but I really loved how creative it was, and I wanted to put it out as a sort of. I really don't even play those songs very, very much live, but I put it out because I wanted people to hear this. I thought it was a very creative thing that I'd done.
Pray for the Lord, my soul to keep. These are the best days of our lives, watching the days turn into nights, far from the world of sensitive time. These are the best days of our. These are the best days of our. These are the best days of our. These are the best days of our lives.
That when Gandhi says, become the change you wish to see in the world, we understand what that means. I think if you understand what that means, then it's like you want to be the best person you could possibly be. It's about it. Why did I pick up a guitar in the first place? Was because I was inspired by somebody else.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what it's about, being in spirit. I mean, everything about songwriting is about being inspired. It's a creative process, and inspired, in spirit. I mean, it's just right there in front of your face, and I think those have been the best endeavors that I've taken on album wise, and everything I've done musically is to have the inspiration first, knowing that all that is it's magical to me. It's I'm in a childlike state of creativity. It's like it's an amazing. It's not just a process of going in and recording, and there's all these amazing things, and you hook up with other people help you, and they're inspired by something, and that's how you gather strength and numbers with people when you want to put out a project, and you say, it's time for a new album. How am I going to fund this? How am I going to get this done? You start talking to other people. You collect the songs. You show the songs to other people. Other people get inspired. I have musicians that'll play with me for free if they know, hey, we're going to go out. We may not make any money. I don't need any money,
Yeah.
because they believe in what I do, because they're inspired by it, and it's all about giving that inspiration back. It's a lot about knowing that like giving is receiving. It's sort of this, they're synonymous with each other. You should feel just as good. Giving away something should feel just as good as if you got something.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Would you be open to doing some kind of open project on Compose?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
You had to say that because you're going
course.
live here, and I got you on
Yeah.
video saying that.
We'll edit this part out. Hell no. No.
So that would be
I'm
really
totally
cool.
open,
I
yeah.
think, just really outside of my own pleasure and Compose, just seeing the way that you already collaborate, throwing something out into the universe and see what happens with it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you a few questions that I kind of ask everybody, and I haven't even asked you these questions, that I kind of ask musicians, and I just like asking them because they really show me a lot about the musician and the path they've been on. And the first one,
is this a test?
well, it can be a test if you want to make it a test.
Okay.
Maybe I could think of the right answer and tell you
I
you're
can
wrong.
pass. Is there a right or wrong answer?
I have
Will
a buzzer
pass?
effect on my
I will
program.
pass just by answering.
You'll pass by answering.
Okay.
Yeah, we graded on a curve here. The first one is, what is music to you?
I believe that quantum physics is opening a huge doorway, especially when quantum physics can be described in ways like the new revision of Carl Sagan's Cosmos, that just came out on television.
Mm-hmm.
And we've learned so much more about what things are in a molecular level, how things actually come down to vibrations, how there's vibrations and everything. I think sound itself and creating sound is a form of language that's beyond our comprehension, and it's so complicated because it involves us understanding with less of our thoughts and words, and it's more about feelings in our hearts, and it can be very complicated. But like, to me, music it's a spiritual language. It is something that connects me to a creator, and I'm creating when I write, and I'm connected to that. It is a holy experience. It is something it's divine. It's whatever you believe in, the universe, God, whatever you call it. I've let go of that idea that there's a man upstairs with human feelings and who gets angry and all those things. Like, I don't really believe that, but whatever it is that governs all things and makes all things alive and is moving through all things, and a lot of that has been proven to be vibrations. And I can't wrap my head around music in any other way than to know that it is something
transcendent.
It's transcending, man.
Yeah.
It is. You're a part of. Some people go get it in nature. I get it through music.
Yeah. Well, okay. Here's the second question. I hate using the words regrets, but what would you change? Like, if you could go back to the beginnings of your music career, or to where the pivotal points of your what's one thing you would change, and that you would tell an artist that might be in that area of heading towards that, or that might help him or her, or go ahead.
I can try to dive into things that I would have changed, but I respect my life for what it is and where I'm at now, and I know that I personally let go of the idea long ago that we make mistakes. I feel like we make choices and there's consequences, and even though at the moment it may seem like we made a bad decision, it all shapes the present moment, and I'm very lucky to be who I am and where I am, and do the things that I do in the present moment. And I think everything I did helped shape that. Even the things that I could look back and say, this, I wish I could have changed this, I wish I could have changed that. But like, I don't believe in arguing with reality. I mean, reality is what it is.
Let's think about it. If you would have changed one thing, you wouldn't be sitting here with my fat dog and
yeah, man,
just hanging out on my porch here.
This dog, and just it's a Wednesday night. What do I get to do? I don't have to go to some seminar or
That's right.
or it's I can be right here doing what I want to be doing, and it involves music,
Okay, last question. And I thank you so much for being on the show, Paco. And it was really
My
enlightening and just wonderful to talk to you. The last question is, 5-year goal. Where do you want to be in 5 years in your music life?
I want to be celebrating the 5-year anniversary of you asking me that question.
You have to get used to it. If you're gonna break down and cry, I'll give you both of my shoulders, and I hope you still feel alive when the war's finally over. Yeah. Sometimes it eats me alive, but I'm trying to stay sober. And so I will sleep
enjoyed that as much as I did, go check out the project that Paco's going to put up. We'll put it in these show notes, and I want you to email me the plan B you burn this week, and we'll talk about it on the show. You can email me at themillenniummusician@compose.com. We got some great, amazing guests coming up this month. It's going to blow your mind. Let's do it. All the credits for the composed music and projects used in this podcast you can find in the show notes, and you can go to Compose and you can click and go into the projects. Make plans for the impossible this week, and we'll see you next time.